Hi. First time. I'm just going to do a quick little video this morning on making the sponge, I call it. Some people call it the pooLish. Some people call it the starter for my bread. I make bread every week. I don't use a recipe, and I want to show you guys how, because it's really not that hard. So we have a couple things to show you. Oh, and I'm Steph, founder of the Smokin' Newfie Enterprises. I do all kinds of fun stuff. I like to use a ceramic or glass bowl. I don't do plastic. A wood bowl is best because it holds your spores. Measuring cup for your liquids. We're going to bring the focus down here. You're going to need tablespoons and teaspoons. One of my favorite things in the entire world. This is called a Danish dough hook. It's under 10 bucks. I have 2 or 3 of them. It's great for whipping up your doughs. If you don't have one of these, this chopper scraper makes cleanup a breeze and is great for cutting your dough apart. Some measuring cups. Sifter. My mom taught me this. I don't bake anything without sifting. All my flour is sifted, unless a recipe specifically says unsifted. And even if the flour says pre-sifted, I sift. That's from the DZ. She is a brilliant and amazing woman. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to give you a really quick rundown of what I have in here. And I'm going to bring the focus back down onto the bowl and show you what... these are the basic ingredients I would use when making a starter. Every time. And now, you can leave your starter sit 15 minutes, or you can leave your starter sit a whole day, 24 hours, 30 hours. The longer it sits, the more it ferments, and it will give you that feeling of sourdough, that taste of sourdough bread. So what I put in here so far, I'll show you what we've got, is I'm doing 4 cups of water, so I went with 3 tablespoons of active dry yeast. I never buy those packets. I always buy loose. 1.5 tablespoons of chia seed. I put chia seed in every loaf of bread I make. 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk for 4 cups of liquid. I would use less psyllium husk if I was only doing 2 cups of liquid. And I really love to use coffee. So you'll see that what liquid we're adding is kind of dark because I use coffee. I also like to put some maple syrup in with my sugar. I never add the salt or the oil till halfway through the second phase. So we're on phase 1 right now. So what we've got in here so far is yeast, psyllium husk, chia seed. Oh, and I snuck in some organic millet. I like a few different grains in there. The millet is awesome. You could do couscous, you could do flax, which I recommend ground. Now, the sponge consists of your yeast, your additives, a little bit of flour, and your liquid. Salt and oil come later. So what we still need to do is get some sugar in here to help our yeast activate. I also enjoy playing with alternative sugars. So I'm going to open up a fresh tapped maple syrup from a local store. I'm not a big measurer with my bread either. I loosely measure. So it's a brand new maple syrup. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup in. And there's a bread I've been playing with a while. I'm really enjoying the coffee, maple syrup, and I'm going to put some organic sugar in as well. Brown sugar is great, honey is great, agave nectar, rice syrup. I mean, you can really use anything in your quest. And I am going to go with 3 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Now that's a little bit much, but I'm wanting a fast rising bread with a tiny bit of a sweet taste. Really, 2 tablespoons total would be enough. So we've got that all mixed up. checking to make sure we're only tepid to warm on our liquid. We're going to put that liquid in there. It's going to bring the yeast to life. And one more thing to add, and we're done with phase 1. You haven't really seen the magic of the Danish dough hook yet, but we will. And I use as much organic as possible. I believe it makes a big difference in my bread. The final thing is I like to work with 3 grains and 3 flours usually in my bread to make something really hearty. And I call it off-white. It's not wheat bread, but it's not bleached white flour with no nutrition. So this is einkorn, one of the, I think this is actually the oldest heirloom wheat you can get, ground into flour. It's very high protein, high vitamins and nutrients, and has a different type of gluten. It sometimes can be used for people gluten sensitive. I put it in for the nutrition and the flavor, and we're gonna go with just a nice hearty 1/2 cup in here. And believe it or not, a 1/2 cup of heirloom flour. You could do spelt, einkorn, emmer, or kamut. A 1/2 cup of heirloom flour in any recipe, cookies, cakes, bread, will give it such a depth in flavor. Oh, sorry about that. A really strong depth. So I just put that all in on the top. I stir it till it's all wet. You can't really over stir your bread. It's not like a pancake. And that looks nice and thick. Matter of fact, speaking pancake, it's supposed to be a little bit like pancake batter. And we're going to use this dough hook again. We won't use a measuring cup, but we will keep it handy to hold our messy stuff. Now the final phase, is to put a lint-free. I keep a couple tea towels, especially for bread. They don't always look great, but they work great. You keep a lint-free cloth to cover your bread with. And you cover that up for at least 15 minutes, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like when it's bubbled. So if you're watching, thanks for checking out my very first ever GoPro video, taken with the GoPro Hero 9 Black. See you soon.